Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are plunging into a challenge that, well, so many ambitious entrepreneurs face, especially if you're maybe a coach, consultant, expert, or, doing high-ticket services.
Right.
Maybe you're just starting out perhaps hovering below that, say, $10,000 a month mark.
Or maybe you're even beyond that point.
Yeah, or beyond. But you just feel like your business is kind of resting on shaky ground. You should be growing.
Yeah.
But the path forward feels unclear.
Yeah, that feeling, being stuck. You're just knowing you need to build something solid, but maybe not quite sure where to start or what's actually going to move the needle. It's incredibly common, isn't it, at those stages?
It really is. And our mission, really, in this deep dive is to navigate that uncertainty together. We've been immersing ourselves in some pretty fascinating source material for this.
What have we got?
Notes and lessons from an online program. It's called Quantum Foundations. Specifically, we're looking at its initial module, which is often called Genesis.
Genesis. Okay. Yeah, that material is really geared towards those foundational stages, right? Hence the name Foundations.
Makes sense.
It seems designed for exactly the kind of people you mentioned, those maybe under $10K a month, or, well, really anyone who suspects their current setup isn't stable enough.
Right. Not stable enough to handle real growth without, creating chaos.
Exactly. Chaos is a good word for it.
So we're going to unpack this material. We'll pull out the most critical insights to give you a clearer picture, how to solidify that business foundation, how to get past that stuck feeling, and know exactly what steps to prioritize for growth based on where you are right now. Let's dive in.
Okay. So what immediately jumps out from this material is its perspective on the core problem, for businesses wanting to scale up. It argues that many entrepreneurs struggle not because they lack potential, but just because their basic foundation isn't solid.
Yeah.
It's shaky.
Right. And it offers an interesting take on why maybe traditional approaches or even other programs might miss the mark.
How so?
Well, they often seem to skip straight to teaching skills. Here's how to run Facebook ads, or here's a sales script template, that kind of thing.
Right, the tactics. And while skills are, look, absolutely necessary eventually,
Of course.
this material makes a really compelling case that success, particularly in those early stages, hinges on something else first.
Okay, what's that?
Your traits.
Traits. Okay, let's explore that distinction.
Yeah.
How does this material define traits versus skills?
Well, it defines traits as these fundamental individual character things. Think persistence, discipline, sheer action orientation, like your internal drive and consistency.
Okay.
Skills, on the other hand, those are the technical abilities, the how-to knowledge, like being precise or accurate in a specific task, say writing ad copy or closing a sale.
Okay. So traits are more about the being, who you are, how you operate, and skills are about the doing with technical proficiency.
Exactly. Nailed it. And the analogy they use is really insightful here, I think. Picture an archer aiming at a target. Your skills are your accuracy, how often your arrow hits the bullseye.
Got it.
But your traits, that's how often you pull back the bow and shoot the arrow, your frequency of action, your persistence.
Okay, I get that. Frequency versus accuracy. But here's where it gets really thought-provoking for me. This material presents this surprising insight.
Which is?
That in the early stages of building your business, traits are actually highlighted as being much more valuable than skills.
Yes. And the example really drives it home. Imagine, say, you have low accuracy, poor skill. Maybe you only hit the target 1% of the time.
Okay, pretty bad.
Yeah, terrible accuracy. But because of your strong traits, persistence, discipline, you shoot, 100 arrows an hour.
Okay, high volume.
Exactly. You're just firing away. You're going to hit that target far, far more often than someone with incredibly high accuracy, let's say 80%.
Wow, 80%, that's amazing.
Who only shoots one arrow a week because they lack the traits, maybe the discipline or the consistency, or they overthink it.
Wow, that completely flips the script, doesn't it?
It really does.
It's not about being perfect right away. It's about just doing the work consistently, even if you're kind of clumsy at first. High school with low action.
Yeah.
It gets you basically nowhere.
Precisely. High accuracy, low frequency, not many hits. Low accuracy, high frequency, way more hits. And this leads to a really clear two-step approach from this philosophy. Step one is just relentlessly maximizing your traits.
Okay.
Increasing how often you're shooting, getting those reps in.
Right.
Step two, and crucially, only after you have that consistent action loop going, then you focus on maximizing skills, improving your accuracy.
That's a powerful reframing. Action first, then refinement. So, okay, based on this foundation, Prioritizing traits consistent action. This material then provides a clear roadmap for business growth, right? Outlining what to focus on externally at different stages.
Exactly. It lays out 3 primary levels, gives you a clear picture of what your business should be focusing on externally depending on where you're at.
So let's walk through those. At the earliest stage, level 1, typically for businesses from, say, $0 up to about $30,000 a month. The core focus is iteration.
Yes, and the material is very specific about the sequence here. The absolute first thing, the priority one at this level, is iterating and refining your message, your market, and your offer.
Okay.
This is your delivery focus, making sure what you provide and how you talk about it really connects, like deeply resonates with the ideal clients you want to serve.
And it stresses, doesn't it, that only once that delivery piece is solid
Only then.
should you shift significant focus to lead generation, lead nurture, and sales.
Yeah.
The acquisition focus.
Exactly. And a key point made is if your delivery is strong and clear, your acquisition efforts, your marketing and sales, they become significantly simpler, more effective too.
So if you're struggling with marketing or sales, this framework suggests looking back at delivery first.
That's the strong suggestion, yeah. The root cause is likely with your message, market, or offer, not necessarily your marketing tactics themselves. Fixed delivery and acquisition gets easier.
Interesting. Okay, so moving beyond level 1. For businesses roughly between, say, $30,000 and $300,000 a month, the focus shifts. It shifts to leverage.
Leverage. And at this stage, the material suggests you're figuring out how to get that leverage right.
How does it define that?
Things like scaling up your lead generation, but without your personal time just ballooning proportionally. Finding ways to reduce your direct time spent in delivery or fulfillment.
Getting yourself out of the day-to-day delivery.
Exactly. And leveraging your sales process. Often that means building a sales team or systemizing it somehow so you're not the only one closing deals.
Makes sense. The goal here is clearly starting to use systems, maybe other people, to free up your time and scale capacity beyond just what you can do alone.
That's it. Scaling beyond yourself.
Okay. And then finally, for businesses operating from maybe $300,000 up towards, say, $3 million a month, level 3 is all about optimization.
Optimization. This is the stage where you're basically refining everything you've already built, getting maximum efficiency, maximum performance.
Like what specifically?
Optimizing your delivery for the highest client success,
Right.
but also efficiency. Optimizing the lifetime value, the LTV you generate from clients. And optimizing your acquisition funnels for peak performance across the board. It's really about fine-tuning the entire machine you've built.
Got it. So that's the external roadmap, what your business needs to focus on doing, based on its revenue level, roughly.
Yeah.
But this material also presents a parallel internal growth roadmap.
Yeah, this is crucial too. It's like a tree, right? It grows upward externally, getting taller.
Mm-hmm.
But it simultaneously needs to send roots deep downward internally. Your internal state, your focus, it needs to evolve right alongside the business structure.
Okay, so how does that internal roadmap align with the external levels?
Mm-hmm.
For level 1, 30 kilometers a minute, which externally was iteration, internally, the focus is squarely on habits and behaviors.
Yes. And the steps here directly echo that earlier philosophy we talked about. Traits first.
How so?
The first internal step is focusing intensely on action. Just doing the reps, building tolerance for discomfort, developing those core traits, persistence, discipline, action.
Right, shooting the arrow often.
Exactly. Only after establishing that consistent action, then comes the second internal step. Focusing on accuracy. Developing the skill.
So it mirrors the external. Iterate delivery, action on message market offer, before scaling acquisition, accuracy in marketing sales. Internally, action before accuracy.
Precisely. It's beautifully aligned.
Okay. Then, as you move into level 2, 30K, 300 kilowatt though, where the external focus is leverage, your internal focus shifts significantly too. It shifts to mindset and beliefs.
This makes sense, right? Because this stage often brings up limiting beliefs around money, maybe your worth, your capacity for growth, your vision for the future.
Yeah, I see that. Stretching yourself brings up those blocks.
Definitely. So those need to be addressed. Also, your attention, your ability to focus your limited bandwidth and energy effectively becomes absolutely paramount when things get more complex.
Focus becomes critical.
And later in the stage, the material suggests cultivating conviction, confidence, and certainty. Especially as you start leading a team, maybe. You need to inspire belief.
Right, you need that internal certainty to lead effectively. Okay. And finally, at level 3, $300, 3M a month, aligning with the external focus on optimization, the internal focus turns to innovation and intellect.
Yeah, at this higher level, the internal work is more about pushing boundaries. innovating around your service delivery, really refining the user experience for your clients to create raving fans,
Hmm.
and solidifying your core brand identity out there in the market, thinking bigger picture.
Okay, so that dual track, external and internal, provides a really comprehensive picture. Now, the Genesis part of the Quantum Foundations program, which is our specific source material here, that primarily covers just that foundational first stage, right? Level 1?
That's right. It dives deep into both sides of level 1. The external imperative, iterating your message, market, and offer your delivery.
And that right first.
And the internal requirement, developing consistent action, those traits, before you overly focus on refining accuracy, the skills.
Okay, and looking specifically at the modules outlined within this Genesis section in our notes, Module 2, called Expectations, is actually highlighted within the material itself. It's flagged as potentially the most important module of all.
That's really intriguing, isn't it? Why expectations?
Well, apparently it lays out the #1 requirement for success for entrepreneurs and details 5 common pitfalls, mindset traps maybe, that can keep people stuck indefinitely.
Wow. So setting the right expectations is seen as absolutely foundational. That's a key takeaway right there.
Seems so. Then Module 3, Actions, focuses on, well, precisely what areas of your business you should be concentrating on when.
Right, the what and when.
And how to avoid what's described as a common trap that keeps, like, a vast majority, 95% they say, of businesses from ever really getting traction.
Avoiding the common pitfalls. Okay. Module 4 is delivery. We've touched on this. It's paramount for level 1.
Yeah.
So this module presumably provides a detailed breakdown of refining your message, your offer, understanding your market.
And it underscores that point again, right? Why strong delivery is presented as the absolute determining factor for success in marketing and sales at this stage.
If delivery's weak, marketing and sales will struggle. Fix delivery first. Got it.
And wrapping up the core of Genesis, Module 5 covers acquisition.
Okay, so after delivery.
Right. It explores apparently the 2 main avenues for lead generation, the process of nurturing those leads effectively into actual sales conversations.
Lead nurture, yeah.
And outlining 4 levels of sales mastery. So it does cover acquisition, but seemingly framed as what comes after delivery is sorted.
Okay, so bringing all this together, what does this structured, integrated perspective really offer you, the listener?
Well, I think it offers a potential roadmap, maybe, and definitely a framework for self-assessment. By understanding this idea of traits first, the distinct external and internal focus areas for each stage of growth, and that absolute priority to delivery before trying to scale acquisition massively, you can maybe pinpoint exactly where you are right now.
Yeah, it helps you locate yourself on the map and see clearly what you should be dedicating your energy to right now.
And just as crucially, what you might be focusing on too early. Potentially wasting effort or even undermining your long-term stability by trying to build the roof before the walls are up.
That's a good way to put it. It's fundamentally about recognizing you need to build that stable ground first.
Yeah. Reinforcing those traits, perfecting your core delivery before you can reliably and sustainably build the higher levels.
Yeah.
Acquisition, leverage, optimization.
So just to recap the core idea here, building a truly solid foundation for your business growth, especially in those early stages. It means prioritizing your personal traits, your consistent action, maybe above immediate skill perfection.
Action over accuracy, initially.
Externally, you absolutely have to nail your core delivery message, market, offer before you try and scale acquisition.
And internal.
Internally, it mirrors that. Developing action, those habits, before focusing too much on accuracy or skill, and then eventually shifting that internal focus to mindset, beliefs, and later on, innovation as you grow.
It's a powerful phased approach built on that often counterintuitive idea that relentless, consistent action is the engine. That's what allows skill to eventually matter.
Yeah, exactly. And that leaves us with maybe a key thought to consider, a provocative idea from this material.
What's that?
It strongly suggests that focusing on how often you shoot the arrow, cultivating your discipline, your persistence, your action orientation, that this is the absolute prerequisite.
Prerequisite for what?
For making any amount of accuracy, any technical skill you develop truly count, especially in getting your business off the ground and building momentum.
So what does that insight imply about where you should perhaps be focusing your energy next? Is it really about learning another tactic, another skill right now? Or is it maybe more fundamentally about just building the habit of shooting the arrow more often? Something to reflect on as you build your foundation.